Good afternoon, everyone, and call this meeting of the regular Board of Selectmen meeting to order for June 2nd, 2025. It is 5:30 p.m. So attendance, we have at the table Selectman Jim Lampos, Selectwoman Jude Reed, and First Selectwoman Martha Shoemaker. We have a number of people online, and that is our attendance. And Jennifer Datum is our recording secretary for the evening. Okay, so for informational items, just so that you know, I am going to invite Steve Tsunami from the WPCA to our June 16th meeting to give us an update on the project, to talk about where we stand. There's a number of things going on in play. They're working on a new updated CSA, which I have not, the last time I saw a draft of it was back in February, but we had a meeting on it last week and their lawyers are working on it. I've also told Steve that we need to do a public forum for the people, residents of this town, to talk about the expenses and put them out there so that people are aware. And
of course, it'll be during the summer when
right,
everyone's
I
here.
would like to, well, I think he's hoping that we can get everything going so that things can be happening in late June, July, early August before people leave. The other item is that the state did grant us the land over by Halls Road for the possible Bow Bridge replacement. I would like you to start thinking about Halls Road and the projects that are coming forward. I mean, possible projects that we could do there. As you know, we have applied for a grant for sidewalk construction. It won't do the entire street, but it could do part of one side of it. And I thank Jim for helping move that grant along as well. And then also just to let you know from my end that the employee handbook, which will become effective July 1st, will be provided to both of you for comments. We don't vote on it. It has been done through HR, the labor attorneys in the past years. And but certainly if you have a thought, but I'll send it to you both electronically. So any other information items, communications, or correspondences from you, Jude?
I am getting continued correspondence, emails from people asking about Tanamaheg Landing. Someone else brought up to me that at the zoning meeting, Denise Savageau said that the Bow Bridge was an approved project and by the town, and asked me for clarification on that. I said I didn't see that the town had approved it, but it was a possible consideration.
Okay.
Unless you guys can update me on that.
I think it was an approved project going forward for engineering to finish the engineering and have it ready to go out to bid so that we could find out what the cost would be.
Okay, but the town, the citizens of the town had not voted on something like that and asked it to move forward yet, was their question. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss something.
I think we did some preliminary design. That was
I knew that.
process.
Yep.
So, it has been approved to a degree, but the project itself hasn't gotten green.
Right.
Okay, great. And I told the people who asked me about Tanamaheg Landing, I suggested they contact us through the town hall.
I just Tanamaheg is all I had from Mr. Atkinson.
Well, we can't vote, we can't discuss ongoing legal situations. So it's moving along. That's all I can tell you. Not always fast, but it's moving along. All right. Is there any public comment? Anyone like to speak? Hi, come forward, please.
Hi, my name is Deb Cordo.
You can have a seat, Deb.
Oh.
Get out of the sun. Lower.
Thank you for allowing me to comment tonight and congratulations on passing the budget. I know that was a big thing for you. My husband and I are proud owners of a cottage in Old Lyme, and we're celebrating 50 years of owning this property. I'm here to express my concerns and comment on the recent passed golf cart ordinance. Also, please let it be known that I have full intentions of abiding by and following all the rules and regulations adopted by the state. For weeks and months prior to the vote of the ordinance on May 28th, the information we received from the Beach Association that was given to them by the Board of Selectmen said that non-registered voters in Old Lyme could not vote on the ordinance. A concerned citizen called the Secretary of State and then called the town clerk's office on May 27th. The town clerk was not in that day, so the citizen was advised to call back on Wednesday, the 28th, the day of the vote. The citizen was told just hours before the meeting that the town attorney was consulted and said that property owners who are non-registered voters can in fact vote. This misinformation was not corrected or given to the Beach Association in a reasonable time frame and denied tens, if not hundreds of voters access. Many golf cart owners have permanent out-of-town residents, and federal law prohibits voter access. Number two, the communication we received on 5/17/2025 stated what a yes vote meant on the golf cart ordinance and what a no vote means. Yes, accept and permit the use of golf carts. No, the only reason to vote no is to ban golf carts from our streets. So now the voters think, oh my God, if I vote no, the LTA and the Board of Selectmen will ban the golf carts. I'm forced to vote yes. Federal law prohibits intimidation, threatening, or coercing voters or attempting to interfere with their vote. Due process. Threatening consequences could violate due process rights. Might be argued that citizens are not voting freely, but are being pressured to avoid negative consequences. Let it be known that I and many others felt pressured to vote yes. Equal protection. If the threatened consequences disproportionately impact certain groups of citizens, golf cart owners, it violates federal law. And finally, the Connecticut State Statute 14-300G authorizes the LTA and the Board of Selectmen in any town or city or borough to permit the operation of golf carts on the designated streets in their jurisdiction, but does not mandate it. So in summary, the Board of Selectmen drafted an ordinance for golf carts agreeing to permit the use of golf carts. But if the ordinance wasn't passed and the voters didn't agree to all the conditions, the Board of Selectmen was going to ban golf carts and not allow revisions to the ordinance. After they drafted an ordinance that agreed to permit the use of golf carts. And finally, the Board of Selectmen inserted a condition in the ordinance titled authority, quote, the town of Old Lyme Board of Selectmen hereby permits and authorizes the use of golf carts. So that tells voters and coerces voters to vote yes, because if they vote no, the Board of Selectmen won't be authorized to allow the use of golf carts. Again, in accordance to state statutes as noted, the Board of Selectmen and the LTA already are authorized to permit golf cart use. To me and many voters at the meeting on May 28th, this was intimidation and threatening. Again, the Summer Beach communities were discriminated against and not provided with full transparency, as they were with many issues over the past decade. This issue also enhances mistrust in the town elected officials. Thank you for your time.
Deb, I would be more than happy. We don't comment on public
Oh,
comment.
no, I know that.
But I would love to call you and go over a couple of things that,
Okay.
so can you want to give me your phone number?
860-995-7043.
Okay, I'll try to give you a call tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yep. Anyone else? And Dennis, would you like to come forward? And then we'll get to the people on the phone.
Dennis Maluso, 7 Portland Avenue. I walked in when you were just mentioning the WPCA update and I couldn't get the date.
Our next Board of Selectmen meeting, I'm requesting that
16th.
they come on the 16th.
16th, okay. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to check the Connecticut Examiner this morning. And another sewage release upstate in Enfield. Obviously, no one really cares what the Connecticut River looks like, or the Thames River, or the Housatonic. Because if they did and they lived near there, they'd be doing something about this, whether or not it's to injuncture Springfield, Holyoke, Brattleboro, any city that's on the shores of the Connecticut River. We've warned you guys about this. It's going to get worse. We didn't need sewers. We still don't need sewers. The information that we've gleaned is the contracts were egregious, overspending. We calculate less than what the contract at 50,000 gallons a day. And that's for a year study. So it's behooves us to rein in the potential adding of the cost. We're looking at 17 million. Okay. The other beaches are at cresting 40 million. Or what? Tell me. This money could have been spent to help the homeowners remediate their septic systems like Saybrook did. Saybrook had the guts to go against the state. Obviously, we roll over like an old dog. Not right. Hopefully, you're going to realize if this goes through and this becomes law and it taxes more the shoreline, your school system's going to get walloped. Okay, we already gave them $57 million more than what they needed. They could have done this a lot cheaper. It was part of a renovation project that I was involved in the 2000s and 2012. And this is just pandering to the school system and screwing the residents, plain and simple. I just don't understand why we're doing this. Okay, you know where I stand, and I'm on the WPCA, and we're not getting information. I get more information from the other beaches as to how much money it's costing than the WPCA gives. That's my first thing. I would like to know, who do I question as to how much money has been spent in total since day one on Halls Road?
On Halls Road or
Halls
sewers?
Road,
Or we're
Halls
switching?
Road,
That's a question I keep
Committee.
hearing. Yes.
how much the town has given that committee. What's the potential? I know the feeling of some people that they want to see it. Go down the Berlin Turnpike and take a look what transit oriented development looks like. How apartments that are going for $3,200 a month. Do you really want that here? I don't think so.
We voted that down, Dennis.
I understand that, but you left the committee in place.
No, we left 2 people on the committee who are willing to finish the AI engineering for the Bow Bridge.
Just the Bow Bridge.
That's what they're working on. And they're not even working right now. They have not had a meeting and they have not met with me.
Okay, all right,
Nothing's
my
happening.
mistake. Okay, I'm just like to know how that development can go through and get what kind of funding they're looking at, whether it's state, town, or federal. And we know where the federal is going. It's going bye-bye. So, just wondering what, what the cost is of that. And if I have to, I'll just do a FOIA.
Do you mean cost?
Cost from day
Scientific,
one.
including surveys,
Surveys,
questionnaires,
engineering, when
development.
Yale got involved, when
Legal,
BSG got involved. I mean, we're not talking something that happened over the last 6 months. This has been years. So, okay, that's all I got.
Okay,
I won't
thank you.
talk about the golf carts.
Okay, is there anyone online who would like to make a comment? If you can unmute yourself, John, I'll let you go first. Can you unmute yourself? Katie's not here tonight, so I don't know.
No, I just came in.
Oh, John, can you unmute John, please? To do public comment? Thank you, Katie.
I'm trying, Martha.
Other people are unmuting themselves, so I'm not sure.
I can disable and I can lower his hand. I can't unmute him.
Okay. John, we're having trouble unmuting you, but everyone else seems to be able to unmute. Is there something on your computer that you can fix to unmute your microphone? Because on our end, everyone else is unmuting themselves. I'm going to move on to Scott. Did you want to say something? Scott
No, I'm good.
Bullinger?
I'm all set.
Okay. Let's see, is there anyone else? Is there anyone else who would like to participate in public comment? Okay, I don't see anyone else. John, if you can hear me, can you raise your hand or again, or put a comment in so that Katie can see it? Okay. I think
I think you can hear
you
us.
can hear us, but we cannot hear you. I'm going to ask you to, Katie, are you in the office or are you?
Call.
Are
I
you
am.
in?
I'm in the office. If he wants to call 1605 extension 210, I can put him on speaker.
Yeah, John, why don't you do that? Call Town Hall 860-434-1605 extension 210. And Katie will work with you to come on. And Katie, just give me a heads up. Don't just jump in. Thanks. And if you just make sure everybody else is unmuted. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. And when John, we'll resume public comment when John is able to get in. Okay. So, moving on to approval of minutes. Let's start with May 5th.
Alrighty.
Does anyone have any changes for the May 5th minutes?
I did not.
Jim?
I detect no errors in the minutes of May 5th.
Okay, can I have a
Nice
mo-
job, Jen.
can I have a motion to approve the minutes of May, the regular Board of Selectmen meeting of May 5th, 2025, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 5th, May 2025.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any? Okay, you could have just bumped. All right. So the motion passes to approve those minutes. I'm just going to do the next ones just in case, so we
Mhm.
can just get through this section. I'd like to look at the special Board of Selectmen meeting on May 7th, which is where we reviewed the ordinances. Did anyone see any issues with that?
I did not.
Nor did I.
Wow. You get the gold star today, Jen.
Can I have a motion to accept those minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of May 7th special meeting.
Jim?
I'll second.
Jim second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes of the special meeting of May 7th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay. All right, Katie, we are ready for John to come in for public comment.
John, go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I'm speaking through my phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Martha?
can. John, just identify yourself. Name and address, please.
My name is John Atkinson. I'm at 14 Colt Lane.
Mhm.
I'm calling to express my extreme disappointment with the actions of the selectmen. Selectwoman Shoemaker, you told me in our first meeting that public input was important to you, and yet you shut out the residents of Colt Lane, who are the ones that are primarily affected, as well as the other residents, based on a poorly worded bullying letter from Frampton. I don't believe that meets the requirements for you to go to executive session, and your failure to allow us input is extremely disappointing. As you waffle and stall, the shrubs that Frampton has planted are growing. There are new rocks there this week. He is increasing his encroachment on the town property, and your actions are extremely disappointed. For the record, I need you to each tell me that you are relying on Frampton's letter and some recommendation from your attorney, Chuckle, to keep this out of public discussion, because that will come to a head later. So I'd ask each of you to respond to that. Thank you.
John, can you just clarify the date of this letter that you're mentioning?
It's the silly letter that Frampton sent, which he attached his draft suit to, which you relied on to go into executive session. The draft suit is nothing. It has no legal standing. His letter is a joke.
Do you know what he's saying?
He's
But
referring to
lawsuit,
the draft of the letter that Frampton sent to us saying, if you don't do this, I will file a lawsuit. So the lawsuit hasn't been filed, but the letter has sent to us threatening a lawsuit.
That began
Excuse me?
that began our proceedings with.
Unless you're being sued, and you are not being sued.
Okay, thank you for your point of view.
But I'd ask for each of you to say why you are in executive session if you are not being sued. And if it's based on Mr. Frampton's letter, that will be important later on.
That is at the advice of our attorneys.
The attorneys who keep billing you to keep this quiet. Thank you.
Mhm. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we're moving. Whoop. Nancy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, being the author of the email that was talked about before, with the golf carts, explaining the reason of voting yes and no, is that a lot of our members thought voting no meant that the
Mhm.
golf cart use would stay the same. So I just wanted to clarify to our membership, it was not meant in a threatening mood, so I just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay. Under new business, we have I think I gave somebody. Under new business, our first thing is an appointment to flood and erosion control for Carl Ravitch. Carl was on flood and erosion control. He did not realize that he had to, reapply, and he was out. He wasn't in town at that time. So he has come back into town and was asked if he could be reappointed. And the committee agreed that he should be.
Okay, when did he originally get appointed? I'm just
When we
curious.
started,
I don't know
when we
him.
started the flood and
Okay, last
erosion
year.
control board
Okay.
last year,
Okay,
when we re-upped it. Yeah,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Carl Ravitch to the Flood and Erosion Control Board.
okay.
I'll
And
second.
Jen, just so you know, it's Carl with a K and Ravitch is Ravech. And he's Seaside Lane. Okay, so Jim has made a motion to appoint Carl, Jude is seconding. And any further discussion?
No.
All those people in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you both very much. Okay, and the next one is an MOA that would be attached to our police union contract. It was brought to our attention because of, as you know, we've had Matt out for a while this spring, due to some personal issues. And there was, our police officers are having a hard time scheduling vacation to use up by June 30th. And in their contract, it says you can't take vacation from Memorial Day on. So this says that I would have the discretion to pay them for up to 5 days and of unused vacation time at the end of any contract year. That would be June 30th of any year. If the first select woman believes the employee made a good faith effort to take such vacation time during such year, but was unable to do so due to his or her work requirements. And this decision up to 5 days shall be discretionary and as such shall not be subject to the terms of a grievance procedure contained with the CBA, their union. And then to be considered for vacation time payout, an employee must present such a request to the first select woman no later than June 1st. And shall include an explanation of the employee's good faith attempt to take his or her vacation time, as well as the work-related reasons for why he or she was unable to do so. Today is June 2nd. I have only required one request, and that person was the person that was filling in for Matt
Okay.
for this particular year.
So this would cover the entire term or length of the contract, which is 4 years, not just this year.
Right. And this has been approved by the labor attorneys. It's something that's very commonly done in towns where it's a very small police force.
Had we ever done this before? I mean, I agree with it for this year. Are we causing any problem by having it extend beyond the first year?
I do not think so, because basically it was, first of all, it's at the discretion of whoever's at the helm.
Okay.
And the good faith effort would have to be proven that they tried, but were not able to. This is showing that as an employer, we are making a good faith effort to abide by our contract and not have them lose their vacation days. It's not allowing them to accrue them. because they will lose those untimed types of things.
I'm certainly in favor under the circumstance that we find ourselves in right now. Do we have a similar memorandum of agreement with other unions in town?
Well, the Public Works is up for renewal, so
Okay.
this only came up because of the situation
Understood,
this year.
right, and we all know what
And,
that is.
but we also know that it's happened in other years.
Okay,
so-
so that was my question.
When people have been out on extended sick leave
Hmm.
or things like that, and they are not able to take off any great lengths of time, a day here, a day there.
No, it
No.
makes sense under certain circumstances,
If
and the
we
fact
had-
that it's under
I
the
think, if-
select person's discretion.
right, and I
I
think
find-
if we had a, situation where we had 12 or 14 police members, it would be a different situation. But with 6, it's,
In our employee handbook in town, do we have a similar consideration, I hope?
we do allow them to request addition to carry over days,
thought
up to
so.
5 days.
So it's not just the police
We-
union at this point?
No.
Ready?
Yeah, and I think because it's the police force, I mean, they're kind of in a special category, you know, I mean, they're subject to the Taylor law and things that other
Mhm.
entities aren't. We have a small force, which makes them essential. in certain
Absolutely.
Times one person's out, you know, another person gets pressed into service. There's not a lot of
Absolutely.
Options. So I think penalizing them for not taking vacation time if they're not able to is not something we want to do. So
course not.
this makes complete sense to me for the duration of this contract, and it can be codified in the next contract.
I just hope that we would extend the same for all our other employees. Because I
yeah.
think it's a great idea.
But what I'm saying is that the police kind of are in their own special category.
understand.
They're subject to, you know,
Right.
certain, you know,
And we've
Supreme
been,
Court cases that other,
Mhm.
you know, entities would not be because they deal so directly with public safety because it's
Got it.
so essential.
Mhm.
And it's 24/7.
And it's
Yeah, it is.
24/7. So I, you know, if there is a special consideration there, I'm
They're
still in favor
deserving.
of it. Yeah.
of course. Okay,
So I need a motion to approve of this MOA, and then I would be asking, well, tomorrow I'd like both of you to pop in and this one has clutter on it, so I need you to sign that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
Hold on, I think I have yours. Did I give you yours?
I have mine.
Oh, well, here's yours.
Oh,
Okay.
Hold
is there
on.
a clean one?
I think there might be. Hold
Oh,
on.
cool. I have mine and I did put a check mark on it.
If I have the clean one. All right.
Efficient.
So if I could get a signature on that,
Okay.
that would be great.
You vote on it.
We need
We
to
have to
vote
vote.
first. Don't sign it. Yeah, wait. We need a motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement.
Sorry.
Make a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the town of Old Lyme and the Old Lyme Police Union as an addendum to their contract.
Thank you.
I'll second the memorandum.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those to approve the memorandum of agreement with the police union, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Okay to sign, right?
Yep, you're good. Okay, next up
You
is
pass that down.
the local traffic authority. I've given you these, they're labeled Hatchet's Hill. So there's been a lot of, discussion on the use of Hatchet's Hill Road in Flat Rock. Peak car trucks coming off of Hatchet's Hill, and as you know, that's sort of our industrial area. There's a number of companies that will use larger trucks. I did include for you the stipulation, a condition that was set forth for Sakaki.
Sakaki?
That,
You got me.
that we have the second page that Paul Rosell signed, and this agreement was just re-upped for another 2 years. And I know that when you say it's being delivered to the town of Old Lyme, that they could, so they're supposed to leave their premises and go right and use 4 Mile or get on 95. But our Hatchetts Hill and Flat Rock are town roads, which we have to pave. And when these trucks go rumbling through, they're taking a toll on our roads. And Ed has mentioned it, et cetera. So we certainly know that there's going to be trucks, whether it's Amazon or somebody's building a house or sheds being delivered. We're going to have to make use, but daily use is really taking its toll on our roads.
Well, if they come out and go Hatchets and Flat Rock, then they have to end up on Mile Creek,
Right.
Whippoorwill, and and there aren't that many houses being built on Mile Creek Road.
No, or down even at the end where they talk about at the end of Flat Rock.
Right.
Near May, what is it further off?
Yeah, Maywood.
Maywood, is it
Yeah.
Short Hills?
Yep.
But so the situation is that I think as the local traffic authority, I think that we should install a sign. And I gave you a sample, but basically no trucks beyond this point or something, or we can make up whatever we'd like up our own. This was just something that was.
So are you talking
We would,
at the base of Hatchets
well, a little bit
Well,
further up.
near
because we
animal
have-
control? Is that where I'm saying seeing it would be?
It would be a little bit further up the road because we have,
We have a lot of site work contractors up
we have
there.
Pasqualini up.
Oh, that's right.
So it would really be where the residential area starts on Hatchetts Hill.
So will we provide a place for them to turn around if they get up there?
Well, according to those people who use Waze, told me that as soon as somebody punches it into Waze, it'll be all the truckers will know because it comes up on their thing, no trucks
So
allowed.
they won't go that way the same way if there's a low bridge. They would
Right.
know.
Well,
Except there's a few.
that have gotten stuck.
Right.
And at this point in time, I mean, we're not saying that we're having a
Pasqualini's the-
fine. We don't need to put in a fine or whatever, but I do think for the residents on those roads and for the sake of saving our paving jobs,
Mhm. I have a question on Hatchets. It just seemed to evolve over 40 years. Is it a bonded road? I mean, it doesn't have curbing. It just seemed to just build slowly, which was fine. It's wonderful.
It's most of the roads in the town.
Yeah, exactly. But I never got the impression it was actually designated, labeled a town road, because people said, "Oh, don't you use Hatchets?" And this was 25 years ago. And what are you talking about?
well, 20,
And I've been here 40
the
years.
little section
Right.
wasn't unapproved. But
Yes.
then Tim had.
Was it approved finally?
Well, he had Ed pave it.
I knew that.
So because of that, now it seems to be unapproved road.
And it's a race.
Mhm.
I have no objection to
I just-
restricting use because of the residents and as well as the wear and tear on our roads. I think it's prudent.
So what I would, I mean, as a local traffic authority, this is a town road. And what we would do is if we approved it, we would send out notice to all the
Mhm.
work businesses in
Good.
that area.
Yep.
And inform them that this is coming into play. And, well, I mean, and anything else that either one of you suggest.
I think we may want to talk to Pasqualini,
Yeah.
to Todd.
I think we need to give them a heads up.
Because, there are a lot of people up there, Kellogg Marine,
Matt Stark
Um,
is expanding his operation
yeah.
up there.
Just to see if there's any unintended consequences of that.
Exactly.
I can see not having semis coming down Flat Rock into
Right.
Mile Creek, because that's tight.
And even
And,
Hawthorne, is that
yeah.
the name of the road?
That's one of them.
Yeah,
I could see people don't pay attention to the speed limit or the stop sign up there, and visibility is not good.
but I think just as a courtesy, it'd be, if we could reach out
Absolutely.
to a couple of them before we approve it,
Okay.
just to say, hey, is there any problem with you guys just taking a
Yeah.
right when you get out of there, instead of going down through.
And I know there are some construction sites and Button Ball, Mile Creek, it's not a lot, but if they were involved in one of those projects, would they have to go all the way around?
Right.
So I agree with you, Jim, we should.
Are there any other roads in town that are the band trucks.
No, not that I know.
So this would be the first one. So it'd be,
Test the waters.
especially because it's our industrial area,
It is,
to have it be our only place that trucks are
but
banned.
until that road was paved, it was less of less of a throughway. They
Right.
did not go up and down it like they do now.
Right.
But
The only-
because it's paved, it is, but it's eroding the land on either side of the road through the hillside, and you can take a ride, and I'd
Yeah.
encourage you both to
It-
do so.
I go there
I'm
all
pretty
the time.
familiar with the area.
Ed said I've put down riprap, I've tried to
My,
help with the erosion issues.
my concern is there's really only one way in and out of that industrial park if we shut that down.
Yeah,
Well,
So-
there was
Right.
only one way before.
Right, but that was 20 years ago and things have grown a lot.
No,
since-
the paving went in,
Yeah,
since-
you understand.
I think
that,
within
yeah.
the last, I don't know.
No, 10, 12 years.
I'm just looking up the industrial zone
Yeah,
to see exactly where it is.
I'm not saying,
I'll be more than happy to do some more research on it, but I do want you to consider it and we'll, when we can pull some more information, I can
Yeah.
reach out to some of the property owners and ask them for their input, but
Flat Rock
asking-
really gets abused.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just,
No.
because it's our industrial zone or one industrial zone.
and then because it goes, if you come to the end of Hatchetts Hill and you take the right on Flat Rock, like you're headed to Maywood,
Mhm.
because there's that 95 bridge, they seem to pick up speed. Because
yeah.
there's like a through
Yep.
straightaway where there's no homes.
Yep.
And then by the time they get into the residential area, they're flying.
Mhm.
And I know that we talk about speeding a lot,
Mhm.
but if you have any suggestions on how we curtail it or make them more aware, we could formulate a letter to send out to all of them to say, we're gonna try this without putting up a sign, but we really need to cut down. And can you look into other ways to get to where you're going? Because if you're getting on 95, and I want you to know that I have followed one truck, which left Hatchetts Hill, went down Mile Creek, went all the way to Mile Creek, turned right on 156 and went over the bridge. And I was like, it would have been so much faster for you to just take exit 71 to get on 95. Why the whole trip through town? I don't get it.
We're getting trucks that are supposed to be taking exit 70 and going
Right.
down to the Amtrak construction area, just flying down Shore Road. In the
Absolutely.
morning, just loaded up, back and forth, back and
Yep.
forth. I mean, it's a problem throughout town, I think.
I don't-
When-
right.
When 95 is backed up, it's.
No, and
It's insane.
you're gonna have to make some exceptions in emergency situations. It's just, I've certainly seen this in other towns where they've restricted the use on smaller roads.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's common.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
To do it, it's just,
Okay.
And it's going to go on for at least another 2 years while they continue to have that
I just
permit.
want to, it's just sometimes you get surprised when someone says, yeah, but if we do that, we can't, we have to have this option. And we would not have thought of it, without contacting them. So.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay. Okay, so the possible sale of town land, which I'm sorry, Jim, I gave you the wrong address. It's 18, not,
Well, didn't follow Jim, but I went down there this morning and is it the open lot that's there?
it's 18 Avon.
I-
And you can look at the map, which I gave you.
Yes, but,
It's not a house. It's just-
okay, that's what I'm getting at because
No,
I found 9 and 11.
It's this 0.11 acre.
Yep.
That's on the map.
Yep.
So there's a process with this. First of all, it would have to go to planning to be approved and first of all, even though open space and affordable housing have both sent me emails, we're asking for more formal letters and for them to vote on it at their meetings in June. And then once we'd have those, then we would go to planning. Planning would have to approve that this could be sold, and then it would have to go to town meeting.
Okay, but it's one of those organizations that's looking to purchase it.
No, it's an individual.
It
who
is.
lives next door to it.
It is to expand his land. Okay,
Well-
to make his yard bigger. Is there an intent to build there? Do we know?
According to Eric, I believe it's a non-conforming lot, so it would
Mhm.
not be able to, basically just wants to expand space. Whether we had another neighbor in that same area buy some land a little while ago, when Tim was in office, and they used it to increase their garden size.
Yeah, I remember that one. I might like to go back again with this map,
Go
because
right
what
ahead.
it looks like now is a place to keep storing unused,
Yeah.
Oh,
like old cars, golf carts. junk. And if that's the case, I'm not sure we'd be doing a service to the other property owners.
okay,
Okay, so now that I have this map, I would like to take another look.
okay.
My only, we could run it past Greg again. I mean,
Yeah.
the Cranberry Bottoms are state land. That's a pretty big
Mhm.
parcel. And
Right.
This could, it's 50 by 100. It can easily accommodate like 2 cars as parking
Mhm.
to access
For that
for that.
state
If
property.
you want
Yeah.
to hike through there. I don't know what the status is of the Cranberry Bottoms. I've personally never been in there, but if we could run that past maybe the land trust or open space and see if, you know, 2
Maybe a
parking
little more
spaces
going on there.
for
Yeah.
people to be able to access
Yep.
that land is practical or not.
Exactly.
And also, how did we acquire it?
It was given to us. If you look at Emma Hall back in 2003. And I don't know why. It could have been because of a tax situation.
I would think if they were paying property tax on it, they wanted to stop.
It's very different if we
feel that-
foreclose on something or something that's given to us. for
Yeah.
a purpose.
Well, I feel like it was also possibly, and I don't know if I'm right on this, so don't quote me. But I also believe it could have been part of an estate and they used that land because of past taxes. But I'd have to go back to check with Melinda and Eric to do the follow-up.
Okay.
If we,
title
yeah,
search
if we
back.
acquired it on a tax lien, I would say get rid of it, get it back on the tax rolls. If it was donated to us for a purpose, then that's a whole different.
I don't think it was donated. I'm pretty sure on that, but I will
My
get you
cons-
more information.
Sorry. My concern is on how it's being used, but that's not our concern. That's zoning, correct?
How it's being used, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know, you got the gist.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So we could probably put some restrictions on it. If
Um,
that's the case, because
Yeah.
the state has put restrictions on us for land that they've given.
Correct.
Okay, so that I will work on as well.
Okay.
All right, so golf cart inspections, just to fill you in. The ordinance went in the newspaper this morning. It will go into effect in 15 days. We know that there are going to be people that are not quite ready for that. We're going to have to be patient and we're all going to have to work together. So we have had a retired state motor vehicle inspector volunteer
Oh, nice.
to do inspections. I do have a call out to our attorneys just to make sure about liability in that case. We would have an inspection sheet with everything on it that's required from the ordinance. And I'll reiterate again that this ordinance has been in play in Soundview. And as Frank Papalardo stated at the meeting on the 28th, it has worked fine and has kept people safe for the last number of years. I think it's been in effect 3 years down in Soundview. So we are just extending this to Hawks Nest. And part of that was because their request, they did ask to say, hey, what are you doing at Soundview? How can we get in on it? Whatever. So we are moving forward. This volunteer and I would go down, we would go through the check. He'd go through the checklist. I just stand there with a clipboard. He'd sign off, I'd sign off, just so that 2 people have verified the information. They have to provide insurance and a registration. We would then give that to the person. They would have their registration, their qualified letter from the inspectors and the application for a permit. They would come to town hall just like they get their parking passes, and Michelle would give them their permit. Inspections would only be done every 2 years. and, we would, but permits will be yearly for $25. Those people, and Frank has a list that he'll give me, there were a few people that did a 3-year
Right.
permit last year. They will be grandfathered in because they've already paid for 3 years.
Jim
Oh,
has
do you
all
have
his,
all that?
because he's a resident of Soundview. And so this person is a volunteer.
Mhm.
I think that's admirable.
I do too. So that's really a more for information purposes.
Mhm.
What I will be sending you though, is I will be sending you the checklist and the application just for your review. The application has been in effect for years, but I'd really like another set of eyes since we're updating a little bit. And also the checklist so that we're all in favor. And if you
Yep.
ever end up on the
Well,
inspection line, you'll have it. You'll know what it is.
I don't live near a 25 mile, unless we change the speed limit on Mile Creek, then maybe.
Right.
I could-
And also, as some people had mentioned earlier, that there was, yes, there is a CGS 14-300 that I believe was mentioned, but that was not the situation that got us to sort of making this decision, because that was a public act that came into play in October 1st of 2024, which sort of threw another wrench into past things. And I'm sure it's because there's some representative or state senator who lives in a town that has golf carts that they want to use and decided this was a good way to enact it, and did not seem to think about all the other little towns who perhaps cannot afford to have this. And in fact, I just read an article this morning about someone who just passed away because of a golf cart accident. And it was just 2 people on it, and they were responsible and they were not drinking. And I don't have all the details, but I did see it this morning on my news feed. So I thought, this is a little timely. Okay, old business.
Before
Oh,
we
sorry.
move on, it's just because this has become so controversial so quickly and kind of out of nowhere. I just wanted to address something while we're on golf carts, that the regulations that we put in place with this are regulations that already existed in Soundview, nothing added.
Right.
Also, they come from the state and from the federal government.
Mhm.
So we have no way of authorizing golf carts and saying, you know what, forget the federal law, forget the state law, do whatever you want.
Mhm.
So, we've been accused of government overreach, of being, dictators, all kinds of stuff over this. If we're going to have golf cart use extended to other neighborhoods, it can't be without regulation. We have to abide by the state traffic laws and the federal traffic
And
laws.
these are,
And that's what this is. And so,
Jim, I don't disagree with you, but not living in a community with
Mhm.
golf carts, what I'm hearing, and maybe I'm wrong, is a lot of people were upset about the process of not knowing. 1 week they're told they couldn't vote, the next week they could. I walked
It-
into that meeting not knowing they could vote.
it
And
was
if I didn't know at 6:30, I know many other people didn't. So I understand what you're saying. I don't
we
disagree
did
about the
not
golf course.
and we did not receive final word until 3 o'clock
Understood.
that day.
Yeah.
And I will say that one of the beach associations got the word out to their people and said, I don't know how quickly you'll be
Mhm.
able to respond, but this is a possibility. It seems that there was a lot of, I mean, we've always had that rule, that they couldn't vote on anything that was,
correct.
unless it was $25,000 or more.
Understood.
And I don't know how that came into
Why it changed.
why it changed,
Right.
or because really and truly, our ordinance has always said, I mean, the duties of the selectmen,
Mhm.
which we approved.
Right.
Has never said they couldn't.
But unlike you, you're closer to the golf carts. But what I'm hearing is the blowback from that. And I
well,
just want that.
that was confusing because someone reached out to me in the beginning and I said, yeah, if you're a property owner, you can vote. And then I found out, no, you can't,
Mhm.
which kind of surprised me. Then I confirmed it and I went back and said, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. No, you can't.
Right.
vote. And then walk into the meeting, it's like, oh, yes, you can. So
Exactly.
that's a legitimate point that's being made,
And you weren't in this office because basically it was shut one door from one office and you come over and you got
Right.
another email and then it went back and
Exactly.
forth.
So,
So it was a lot of confusion
yeah,
and a lot of people checking and when you read a Connecticut general statute, there's a lot of sometimes interpretation that has to come into play.
Mhm.
And that is why after various discussions and we reach out to different town clerks because they all follow that
Mhm.
to see how they handle it. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of this is done in bad faith or.
Not-
trying to pull
Of
a
course
fast
not.
one,
But
But
that's
was it,
right where I'm
was
seeing.
was it confusing? There was confusion
Absolutely.
there. So we have to admit that. And I'm glad that it ended up that we expanded the voting rights.
Of course.
Because I think if you own property, you should be able to vote on the ordinances. It shouldn't
Okay.
just be registered voters.
Right.
So I'm glad, I think where we ended up was a good place to end up. But, the process was confusing, but sometimes things are messy, it can't be helped. And I
Life
think in
is
this
messy.
situation, I don't think there was
but there was an
anything
awful lot,
underhanded.
there was a lot of publicity about it prior to, and there wasn't much brought to my attention until the morning of. And I think I only had 2 emails that said, what's happening? And can you tell me? And I walked them through it and they were like, oh, okay, this is no big deal. And I said,
Oh, I'm
Jealous.
sorry.
it's okay.
I know.
Okay. All right, so we're moving on to old. Are we ready to move on?
I am. Thank
Okay,
you.
so ordinance postings, basically, just so you know, we're getting the other 3 ordinances, the 4, I should say. Those that were revised, ready, those will go in one ad.
Okay.
In the paper, and we probably will have those ready by Wednesday.
Okay. Do you
Um,
need us to sign those? Is there a form we have to sign?
no,
Okay.
it goes through the town clerk's office. And then, Rob McCarthy has asked to come on 6/16 with, he'll be talking a little bit more about that tax abatement for volunteer firemen and EMS.
That's on the 16th as well.
Yes, we will
Okay.
invite him to come back. I'll give you a heads up so that you can do your homework. There was, at one point in time, they were allowed to apply the, tax abatement to their taxes. Now it's really that it only can go into their passing accounts for retirement. And I think Rob is looking to see if there's any thing on our part, if we could allow that choice again.
Whether it be to the property tax instead of the retirement.
Right.
Okay.
There is, and I'm gonna have to have Anita do some work on this, but when you apply it to the taxes, it becomes
Income
income
and it's
and then they
taxable.
get taxed.
Right.
So that's
not
one of
ju-
the things that we're gonna have to, and I'll have that information ready for Rob. So it's not that we are going to have probably take a vote on the 16th, but I think we should also let him go back to those people and say, this can't be changed. We can't just,
Because if they defer the money, the income, they are taxed at whatever category or rate they are when they withdraw it. As opposed to taking and paying your taxes, hey, that's earned income, so.
so
Okay.
that would be ordinance postings. Okay, so at this point in time, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussion of the selection of a site and or possible acquisition of real estate by the town. It would just be the 3 of us in for this. So could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
So we are moving into executive session at 6:29.
Right, just like clockwork, the third hour.
And Jen, I'll add that. And
Let me know what time you adjourn.
yes, I will. And also if there's any votes taken afterwards, if we
Do
come
we
out.
vote on going into executive?
I'm sorry, we have to vote to go into, actually, I don't know if you have to vote to go.
We
into-
just,
Just do, all right, we seconded, Jim made the motion, Jude seconded, all those in favor of moving into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
And-
and